What's going on, everybody? It's Mr. Doodle, and we're doing 2 videos today, breaking down 2 key NFL games, 2 of 5, maybe 6. We'll see how it looks. In the second game, we're going to be talking about the Denver Broncos versus the Dallas Cowboys. Both teams coming off of victories like this past weekend. Broncos played last night, beating the San Diego Chargers 24-21, almost blowing a lead at home before fortunately blocking the field goal kick of Young Hoku, kicker for the Chargers. And the Cowboys went in on Sunday night versus the New York Giants 19-3. Now breaking down this game here, there's a couple key matchups to look forward to. One of them being the outside. Dallas receivers, Denver secondary. The Denver secondary with 3 terrific corners. Aqib Talib, I think Nickel Roby-Coleman, and Chris Harris Jr. Now, we'll probably see Aqib Talib follow Des Bryant around. I wouldn't be surprised to see Chris Harris follow Cole Beasley around. That's going to be a very key matchup because Dak Prescott likes finding Cole Beasley on third and intermediate throws. Intermediate's about 4 to 6 yards on third down. And Terrence Williams versus Nickel Roby. Now, these are going to be key matchups here because Denver's secondary is known as the no-fly zone, and Dallas's offense, which is a run-first team, still finds a way to get their receivers involved, especially Dez and Cole Beasley on the outside, on the slot and the outside. And then you have to deal with Jason Witten running underneath routes as well, being a safety valve for Dak Prescott here. Now, the Denver defense is no slouch at all, led by Von Miller as well. Going up against La'el Collins, that's another key matchup to look forward to. La'el Collins played against Jason Pierre-Paul last week and had a very solid game against him. I think he had 1 penalty, and that was holding. Didn't allow a sack, so that's the key part. I think Von Miller's a much better pass rusher than Jason Pierre-Paul, so he's going to have his hands full. Wouldn't be surprised to see them send a lot of help, chipping him, using Zeke in there. Zeke is also terrific at picking up blitzes. That's another thing to look forward to, as well as how they are able to send pressure at Prescott. And on the flip side, the things to look forward to, Denver versus Dallas on the offense versus their defense. Can Trevor Siemian continue the success that he had last week? Is Dallas's defense actually good, or is it just a product of not playing Odell Beckham? That'll be a couple key factors. I think Dallas's front 7 is good enough to hold down the running game. I don't think Denver's running game is all that solid. I think they're the type of team that wants to control clock, stay ahead of the chains. So picking up 4 to 5 yards every single play, so that you're in third and manageable. Third and manageable to me is 4 yards and under. So it gives you that run pass option at least. Still keep the defense guessing. Something to look forward to as well is Sean Lee versus Siemian. Sean Lee had a terrific game last week playing against Eli Manning, I believe, quarterback versus quarterback, defensive quarterback versus offensive quarterback. And the Dallas defense was able to get pressure on a very bad offensive line, like I had predicted in that same game. That's something to look at too. Is Dallas's defensive line a fluke of being able to play a bad offensive line, or are they actually going to be able to consistently generate this pressure that they had last week? Denver's offensive line is very superior to New York, but that's not saying a lot because, like I said in the New York season preview, is that their offensive line is one of the worst in the NFL. So that's some key things to look at. The Cowboys will be without Orlando Scandrick, probably arguably their best slot corner, so Emmanuel Sanders could have some success here going up against the Cowboys slot, which I think will be Chidobe Awuzie. So that'll be interesting to see. And we'll see Demaryius Thomas probably lined up with Nolan Carroll or Anthony Brown. Anthony Brown played spectacular last week, picking up an interception in the process. Now, going back to Denver's defense here, they're going to have their hands full against the Dallas running game. Something that Denver's defense is terrific against the pass. They didn't allow a 300-yard passer last year. As we all know, that Dak Prescott isn't a 300-yard every week passer. This offense is very balanced. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Zeke have over 100 yards, but he's going to have to earn those yards like he did last week. Dallas's offensive line is still one of the best in football, so getting yards after contact is something that Zeke does very well. He had 77 yards after contact last week. I out of his 104. So that's amazing. He finds running lanes when there isn't running lanes. Now, on Denver's offensive side, they have C.J. Anderson and Jamal Charles. Jamal Charles was averaging, I believe, about 4.5 yards per carry last week. Same with C.J. Anderson. I don't know if they'll have the same success because Sean Lee and Jalen Smith played really well last week, but it's all about staying balanced against these teams. With both of these teams, you know, just being able to stay ahead of the chains, staying in third and manageable, staying out of 3 and outs, playing field position if you have to. Those are things that you have to look at. Now, some last little tidbits here to look for, some matchups to look at. Dez versus Akeem. Zeke versus the front seven. So Dallas' offensive line versus Dallas and Zeke, and Dak versus the front seven of Denver. It's going to be very interesting. And Lyle Collins versus Von Miller. Is he going to be able to keep him in check? Not let him get to Prescott? Just a few simple things here. And on the flip side, something that Denver's offense has to look at is Jalen Smith and Sean Lee coming downhill and finding open creases to have tackles at the line, to have tackles for losses. Is Dallas's defensive line going to actually generate pressure on Russell Okung on the left side of the offensive line like they were able to against Eric Flowers? You know, things like that. And Demaryius Thomas versus Nolan Carroll or Anthony Brown. What type of matchup are we going to see here? Now getting into our prediction here. Now this game is played in Mile High. This is a very tough atmosphere to play in. You are going up into Denver. That's a tough place to play already, not accounting for the air condition up there as well. But I think Dallas is going to be able to pull through. Now I know what you guys are thinking. Oh, he's a Dallas fan. He's going to be biased. This is nothing about bias. I think it's going to be a very close game. I can see this game being 24-21, 24-17. I can see Denver taking this game. It's going to be a very close game, though. Both teams are very evenly matched. You have strength versus strength here, offense versus defense. But I see Dallas squeaking this out 24-20. I think Zeke is going to run for over 110 yards. I think Dak is going to play mistake-free like he has all year. And Cole Beasley versus Chris Harris is a huge matchup to look at, especially on those third and intermediate. So look out for that matchup. Is Aqib Talib going to be able to bait Dak Prescott into throwing these bad to making bad passes, bad decisions? We'll see. I'm taking Dallas in this game. It's going to be a great game to look forward to. 3 more games to go over this weekend. Make sure to watch out for those. If you haven't already, go ahead and check out Green Bay versus Atlanta. And Mr. Duo's out. Peace.